Alright guys, so this is Khan, Director of Illustris, and today I'm going to go through a little bit of how I think about combat, right? And this applies to a lot of our guys too, because of course a lot of them learned from me and people that came up under the same guys I did. So I've got about 5-ish minutes here of a King of the Castle, not playing the objective, just playing for kills. And I'm going to stop it and highlight certain things as we go through just to talk about how we think about combat. To start off with, I'm going to be running the same build that I talked about in the last video. So it's going to be a full damage build with a rolling block double barrel and the navies. And we're going to be avoiding headshot strategy here, meaning that basically we're using the damage, the raw power, with body shots. We have a medium scope on our rolling block, so it's not a middle range option. That's what our navies are for. And our double barrels are close range option. We're going to be running shells in it just for the get off me that they provide. By no means is this a perfect gameplay. It's far from it, but it is an excellent example of how I think about combat. So to start off with, we've just killed a guy with our navies. He was over here roughly. And now we're going to be analyzing our next threat. Which you'll notice, we see this guy right here, this guy right here, and this guy right here all as threats. I'm pushing this guy because I believe that I can get him and get behind this corner right here before this guy down here can properly analyze the threat, or before this guy can push around and get this kill. I should mention that these guys are also threats, but I wasn't aware of them during the actual fight. So as you'll see there, I then changed strategy because these two gentlemen become bigger threats. Now, initially I was going to jump over the fence, but if we rewind a little bit, you'll notice that I realized that if I jump over this fence, I'm not going to have time to jump over the second fence. That means that instead, I decided to turn around, I look at him to engage, I pop my focus fire while ducking. As you'll see, right here, I analyze the threat, pop focus fire, duck, turn around, just because it moves my head. And I attempt to get the second shot on the second guy immediately after. Now in this case, of course, it didn't work out, but the theory still holds. I'm analyzing the most dangerous threats first and assessing them. Now here, you're going to see me grab my rolling block and step out into the middle of town like a dumbass. You should not do this. I'm hitting my shots, so it's working out for me. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, what I want to address there is that you'll notice I'm not particularly rushing my shots. I'm taking my time so that they hit. I'll have issues with that later on. And the reason that you take your time is if you're not going to hit your shot, then you shouldn't even take it, especially with the build I'm running that synergizes having time in between shots. Now here you're going to see me try and challenge with a medium scope rifle here. This is a poor decision. I should have swapped to my shotgun and obliterated this kid. But I decided I was going to try and show off, and I don't even get killed by him. I get killed by a guy to the side because I didn't think that these two over here were a threat, and I should be noticing right now that they're on the rim of my map, but I don't. That's fine, though. And, of course, I get domed by one of them. No, not even one of them. One of them back behind. This goes back to the idea that you always want to be 3 corners around you, 1 corner pointing out. So, actually, right here is a pretty good example of that. So, right here on my map, there are corners that you can see, kind of, in the natural terrain. There's a big wall up over here, and there's the ocean over here. I can only be attacked from over here and over here. This is actually a really good position, but I'm not going to hold it because I like to play aggressively. Now here, you'll notice what I'm talking about. I'm just getting impatient, and I decided to wait. Patience is key with this build, and I took too much time. I should have done a scope flicker, which I'll cover in a future video. I don't think I do it in this one. And I'm just playing for kills, so there's going to be some aggression, and that's going to be an issue. So here, I missed the shot. I should have aimed in front of him instead of trying to hit the lagging hitbox. When I'm talking about a lagging hitbox, what I'm talking about is right there. On many enemies, right, your hitbox is where your character is, right, and a little bit around it. So a lot of the time, especially with some of the higher damage weapons, you can kind of shoot right behind someone and still hit them. I'm not sure what the actual game mechanics for it are, but it always seems to me that you basically have that area to shoot. And you'll pretty much always hit them. I think it's something to do with latency. But that doesn't work out for me here. And I get impatient. And I decide to address a different threat. Now, what you're about to see, is something that I do a lot. I pop both my shotgun shots, and I realize that this guy's going to peek out at me as he's doing that. You'll notice I switch to my revolvers as soon as they're empty, because it's another damage source that is going to be reasonable at close range. I saw his health a second ago. I saw what my one shot did to him. So then I realized I only have to hit one shot on him, so I just spam from the hip. And again, the threat that I'm not analyzing kills me. You always want to analyze the most dangerous thing, and sometimes there are multiple things that are equally dangerous. Now you're going to see me start to employ cornering more, what we call cornering, where you stay inside a V of safety. On the corners of the map, particularly in this mode, but even in actual proper corners where there's like ridges behind you and stuff, if you stay roughly in the corners, you can't be challenged alongside. Here I'm just third-partying kits because I can. And again, you'll see, taking the time, realizing I'm fucked. I really just need to learn when to use the appropriate weapons. It would make my life infinitely easier and make me much more successful. Here you're going to see me actually kind of abuse a corner. See, you shoot, fire, you shoot, and then you dive behind the corner. Really, I should have pressed left on the D-pad here instead of sprinting out, because it would have let me aim around the corner and see him before he saw me. What I chose to do was a much more aggressive push and just rely on the fact that I had a double-barrel shotgun that hits like a truck. Not the best strategy, but a working strategy. Now you're going to see me push out. See, I'm staying near the building because I know the building's safe. And I'm just using cover and trying to hit as soon as it's reasonable to not have issues. What you're seeing here, I'm not actually popping Deadeye for the damage. I'm popping Deadeye because of the fact... Here, I'm popping for the damage. But a second ago, you saw me pop Deadeye. When I'm in my scope and I can't really see anyone when I pop Deadeye, I'm using the fact that it outlines heads with a little bit of red to make it happen. Here, I just decided to go for a stab, because why not? But, you notice I auto-default back to the sniper rifle, because it's the most useful at most ranges. But, right here, as I see this guy spawn in, I immediately move to cover, swap to the shotgun, because it's a better weapon for the range. And again, shoot, dive behind cover. That's kind of how we play the game at a reasonably high level with a reasonably low skill level. Here you're going to see me, again, pop Deadeye, take the shot. I mean, that's a solid 90% of what I do with this particular build. Now, I don't actually see the guy. If you're watching this, you're going to see this in my minimap. Right there. this guy spawns in behind me. I don't actually see him. I'm more worried about going for the kills here, so I didn't notice that. Had I noticed it, I would have absolutely remained trained back there. But what you're going to see is I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to miss, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to miss. And then I'm going to decide that's outside of my effective range. Then I'm going to see the threat over here. And I'm trying to get my crosshair to him as quick as possible. He's just outside of my Navy's effective range and well outside of my shotgun's effective range. And basically I miss a shot because I'm bad. Now, this right here, this next segment, I don't know what happens there. I assume that I just missed. Again, like I said, hitboxes felt kind of weird in this game. Now, me and this player are kind of playing Ring Around the Rosie. There's this other player too, though, so I'm just going to wait here where I have the advantage. Because in this particular corner, remember, in Red Dead you aim over one of your shoulders all the time. Corners like this, corners that are to your right, give you on your natural ADS, where you don't press left on the D-pad, they give you the most visibility with the least exposed body. What I do there is very common. Well, let's back up real quick. So you want to expose the least amount of your body, and in doing that, I'm ensuring that I have full auto-aim capability back here. Oh, shit. Yeah. In doing this, I'm ensuring that I have a lot of visibility and full auto-aim capability. Because when you press left on the D-pad, it does bring your aim to the other side, but you can't fully drop it. You want to avoid that at all costs. If you can get a corner like this, this is a lifeline for you. If you're using painted black, you can actually kind of shoot through them. Now what you're going to see up ahead is a really common tactic with shotguns. I like to call it double shotting. Basically what you're going to do here is fire your shot and dive regardless of if you hit them, if you kill them. This is a safety tactic, particularly with things like bows, tomahawks, etc. Painted black only tracks them. I don't know if this player is using paint, but you always assume they are. So I assume that that arrow is tracked on my head. So if I fire and dive, it increases my chances of survival, because there is a solid chance that her shot there is going to go above me, because that's where the painted black tracked it to. At longer ranges, you can get weird curves, but at this range, you absolutely do not. That's actually something that I think a lot of players need to keep in mind, is that painted black is not 100% you're going to hit the shot. It is that the bullet goes exactly where it says it's going to at the time it's fired. Now, I notice in this clip now that she's not even in Deadeye, so I assume she's just using the bow. But as soon as I can stand up, while I'm doing the stand-up animation, I'm spamming the trigger. Because I want to fire as soon as possible, so that I can get the kill on her. If she had been at like 2/3 health or something, I may have chosen instead to dive kind of towards the wall, try and get a little bit of cover, or maybe into the bush. But you'll notice I immediately sprint for cover as soon as I get the kill. The only time I'm stepping out of cover when I have the choice is to get kills. And when I miss like that, I know that personally I get upset with myself and I get bad. That's kind of where it sits for this one, gentlemen. 34 and 8. It's not the best gameplay ever, but it's honest, it has mistakes, and it has good points as well. I wanted to show what my thought process is with this build, and I'll likely make a few others with several other builds. I might get some of my guys to put their thoughts in with what they use, because of course we all play slightly differently. Thanks for watching, guys.